because that's just as important. I'm a trauma-informed individual. I'm way more aware of just the debilitating systemic issues that are grappling our country, and not just our country, but our community right here in Worcester every day. I see it, I live it, I breathe it every day. I'm currently employed by an organization called Abby's House, which supports women with or without children in safe shelter, affordable rental housing, advocacy and support programs. I am seeing what the systemic barriers of our existence in this world are doing to the women in our community. And at first I was like, am I jaded? I don't know, am I angry? I mean, yeah. But what I also see is community. I see my coworkers showing up. I see the community that donates their clothing to my thrift shop, that generates funds to support our shelter, that currently has 18 women and 20 kids are in our shelter right now. So as much as we feel burdened by these systemic issues, and we're like, how are we doing this? I really see myself as like a spoke in this wheel that's gonna move towards what I know and what I want, which is a world where women are leading self-directed lives and they're filled with empowerment and hope, and it's that reminder. And I think the service here and really immersing myself with a community making 30 to 60% of area median income really changed that perspective for me. Just, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, we learned that in 6th grade. We know how important housing is and shelter and food. Like, that's core, education. And then to see that pyramid completely disintegrated in real life was alarming, but also really made me dig in and commit that I want to serve people. I want to do all I can to make sure people experience what I was able to experience, and knowing my parents worked really hard for it, and I'm so grateful, but I want that for everyone. They deserve it.
Thank you. A little bit, I forgot to say, Peace Corps is 27 months generally, right? It's 3 months of training, 2 years of service. And I hadn't really been away from home. I've been from a town roughly the size of Worcester. Also, it's important for this context, significantly less culturally diverse. I had never been away from my home for more than, 2.5, 3 weeks. And then I needed to go for 27 months. And so for 3 months, I lived with a Bulgarian host family. There's the 3 generations in one household. The father, the grandparents were there, had lived in Chicago for a while. He spoke pretty decent English, and at some point he said, you get a week of me speaking English, and then it's only Bulgarian. And that was, he stuck to his word, even if I wanted to explain. So I had to dive in really the deep end. And it's very jarring to think that everything you know about the world, if you live somewhere else, it can be completely different. The language, the culture, the customs, and all of these types of things you really had to get used to. And to echo Luis's words, it was really difficult to not feel like you were making as big of a difference as you had set out to. They send you to, like I said, smaller and smaller communities. I was in town about 8,000 people in an impoverished place. If you can imagine, working in a business center, if you can imagine, there's not a lot of business happening in that kind of a community. I did all that I could. It definitely wasn't a 40-hour work week. I was there to do more than 40 hours, right? That was my point, to commit myself to it, right? And so I volunteered with kids' sports. There was an orphanage. I could do the events once a month. I did chess club that somebody was asking. Just anything and everything that I could get involved in, I tried. But the winter would hit. It would be just as cold as it was here. There's absolutely nothing to do. I spent a lot of time by myself in a communist-era concrete slab of an apartment, wondering why I was there for months at a time. And it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. And the stipend is slightly better than the other corps in this group, but it is roughly the pay that you get, that they get there. I was frankly doing a little bit better than most people in the city, but not significantly. And that was partly because I had one mouth to feed instead of a whole family. There was they call it a readjustment allowance, which is increased slightly from when I was there. I got $7,000 when I left. It's up to 10 now, but that was 16 years ago when I left. I think it made me, though, that challenge to how I saw the world made me a better social scientist, which is what I am. I try to see how the world works and put some confines on it. I still like to tell my daughter that some of the smartest people you meet know what they don't know, and they learn how to navigate and how to learn these things that they don't know. And it's a little bit of a play on Socrates. This idea that I think I'm here, I'm an educator, I'm a scholar because I was just so fascinated by seeing different ways that the world could work and did work, and we're full of wonder if we let ourselves be. And so that was, I think it made me a better person. The other thing I think that it is pertinent to say that has changed my life is I did meet a Bulgarian while I was there. We got married. We have a child. My home language is Bulgarian, a language I knew not a word of when I got on the plane. And this was my language, one of our Peace Corps language books. You can imagine there's not much to learn Bulgarian, so they had to make their own. And so if you want to take a look through that, it's funny, this was so hard when I first got this book, and now it's like a children's book to me now. So it's kind of amazing how much we can learn when we dive in and kind of let ourselves. So, yeah.
Very well said. So I want to please have you help me in thanking our panelists tonight, and I believe there are discussion questions at some of the tables that we want to invite you to consider for the next few minutes. Do we have them on the screen too? I'll pass the microphone up to Luis.
Yeah, so as is custom, we have some kindling conversation questions for you all to consider. So if you want to just kind of mill about, find someone maybe you don't know or one of us, we'd like a little bit of a break, but we're always open to share more. There's plenty, the point isn't to go through all of them, but just to spark some conversation amongst those gathered here. And then I think from this point, it might make sense just to kind of, we'll stick around for a little bit if folks want to just chat more, but at this time, I think that's more or less the idea. I'd like to thank Esteban for emceeing, kind of hosting us. And in addition, there's a couple other resources. If you, the questions are posted on little stands, but again, the point is to promote postgraduate volunteer service programs, regardless of what they look like. They're always an important consideration for you, but understanding that there are sometimes practical barriers, challenges. And so I just want to share that my experience when I was applying to the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, I deferred my acceptance. I applied to the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, so to a volunteer program, and I applied to grad school at the same time. Believe it or not, deferment is an option, and so grad schools typically like to see that someone has life experiences or is willing to communicate that I'd like to go out and sort of figure out what it is that I want before committing to this. And 9 times out of 10, they're really excited about that, and there are a bunch of educational opportunities, some of which some program support folks are here now, so they'd be willing to share that. So yeah.
I want to just jump off that really quickly. A lot of I went over with 40 people, a lot of them felt like they got into graduate schools maybe punched above their weight had they not done a service experience, right? It can be a big separator. There are some benefits, obviously, like Peace Corps has a master's program that you can do, but I know one person that I've ever met through Peace Corps that's done that, but all the other master's programs, it's very much a benefit to say that you have these kinds of service experiences. So it can really be a benefit not just for yourself and your personal enrichment, but for professional steps as well. So yeah, it's really beneficial for graduate programs.
And my service experience resulted in employment for 12 years until I moved on. So also very real. You can get a job that pays you bi-weekly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So thank you everyone, and we invite you to the next Fireside Chat on November 20th at this place and at this time. Bring a friend. And again, I want to thank our panelists for their wisdom, and we can continue the conversation. Thank you.
And there's a survey. Please fill out the survey.
Yay.
We're looking to improve this.
Yay. 5 stars for me.
Oh, if we can stay here a little quick just to get a
Oh, we love a
Sure,
pic. Yeah. That's so great.
Yeah, one second. I might have to go meet with my wife and daughter. So,
Oh, that's important.